Alrighty, good morning, guys. We are at what, Wednesday, June 8th, 2022. I want to jump back and take a look at what happened yesterday, and then we'll come in and start reviewing everything else. So let's jump back to yesterday morning and take a look at what happened. It was pretty quiet in the room. I think I only made two actual calls for levels to try. So let's take a look at what happened here. Off the overnight low, for everyone who was here, remember what we said. If we don't break below this line, 4071.50, which was the low of last week, we had a pretty good indication for a bullish, well, we had multiple time frame bullish signal. So if that level did not break or we got a little peek through it and came back up, it looked like we were going to get some type of push. And so out of the open, we never even went down to 4071. We ended up holding the overnight low and then just started pushing. So, you know what I did? I tried a long right off the FMA as things were kind of breaking on through the VWAP. But unfortunately, things then went sideways when I decided to get in. And then the market started coming up, and look where we found our first resistance, right off of the low of the day before. So it came up, got two rejections from the low of the day before. So it looked like to me like the bullish divergence we saw from the overnight low was played out. We came up right into the low of the day before and just could not break through. You know how bearish I am overall with everything going on. Usually we see attempts by the bulls to break out and then it fails and we sell lower. So as we failed with the double top from the low of the day before, I started to get into shorting the market. So I took a short right at the OPL. We had the FMA and the OPL sitting right there in addition to the 200 moving average. I figured with so much there, I'm going to go ahead and hit it. And sure enough, did get a nice follow through. But then again, we went sideways. I called in the room. This was basically the first call in the room was to take the K, oh, well, there wasn't a K, yeah, the KP and the 200 moving average short to see if we would get some carry through to go ahead and sell to lower prices. But unfortunately, it was just a pullback. And if you look, I didn't do this yesterday, but if you look at this leg up from the low of the overnight session, right up to the highs we made there, look at where we pulled back to, right to the 50% retracement and literally held it to the tick or, went through it by one tick and then took off to the upside. So market went against that position that I called. And then I told you if we end up breaking through this 4107 level, then it's basically we would expect a continuation up to higher highs. And so once it broke, you can see we got a triple top here. We came up once or a couple times and failed, a second time and failed, and then this third time, another failure. But this, if you remember in the trade room, I told you as we were failing, it looked like we were getting again another peak above and fail with a triple top. But when we pulled back, we held right on to the fast moving average and then started trekking higher. So that clue right there in real time as we were watching this happen, I'll see if I can make it as realistic as possible. It pulled back and I told you guys, if we don't break the FMA, then all these cases for the bears might be over with. And sure enough, went right to the FMA, got a little double bottom, and then off we went. So once that broke, I told you all, we want to be long. Everything for the bears was being negated, and the bullish divergence that we got off the overnight low back here looked like it was really going to carry through. So the idea was to get long. There were no pullbacks to get long, in my opinion. There were all these very shallow pullbacks with local 512 bullish divergences that you could have tried, but there wasn't a decent enough pullback for me to get in. And so let me see if I can refresh this in. So it just started taking off, and there were really no pullbacks until finally we came right back to the FMA. And I told you on the pullback here, if you wanted to try 41.29 quarter, 41.29.50, that might be your opportunity, even though we missed out on so much of the move already. And then it went up 7 points right to the 50% line of the previous day. So a decent opportunity there, and that was the only other trade I called yesterday. And that was the end of the day. We came up right into 50% of the previous day, and look what happened. We got a pullback again. So previous daily low, 3 tries to break through, pulled back, break through, come right to 50% of the previous day. Sure, it peaks through just a little bit, but then we get a pullback again. And if you look at the pullback of that leg and throw your retracement up for that leg up, look where we came down. We came right to the 61.8 and we came right to our minor eye level at 41.0850 and bounced pretty much directly off of that level. Again, all this technicals are just unbelievable stuff. So we then continued trekking, held the 61.8 of this leg up right here, and held our minor eye level, and came right back into 50% of the previous day. Had a lot of trouble. Eventually got through, pulled back, and then where did we bounce? Right off of that level. Just magical stuff, right? So it kept going. And then what was the high of the day? Whoops. What was the high of the day? 1 point in front of our exact resistance level that we were targeting to the upside, 41.65. That, if you look back to the previous day, was the high of the day, if I recall correctly. Going back, yeah, so 41.65. They made a high at 68. And that was the pocket that we were targeting to the upside as potential resistance. So sure enough, came up yesterday to 64, 1 point in front of the 65 level, and now we're pulling back, coming into the open. So I want to show you just from a fib perspective here, we pushed up again from 41.08 quarter, one tick into our minor eye level. See if I can get that. And then came up to 41.64, 1 point in front of our expected resistance. And right now you can see we're sitting right about 50% of that leg up from the minor eye level. So we're right around the 50% of that. If you look at the whole push up from the low of the day before all the way up to the high we made at the end of the day there, we're also sitting pretty close to where that 38% retracement is. We got a really good confluence of those two legs right in this shaded region between 41.2950 and 41.3050. So as if we continue to pull back here, I am watching that little spot right there. All right, so that's kind of where we're at coming into the open right now, pulling back. And then just for some additional context, I want to jump up to the higher time frames and just take a look at where we are. We still have not broken out of about almost 2 weeks of price action. It's been a very tight, balanced situation here between 40.70 and about 41.80. So a little over a 100-point range where the market has just kind of parried back and forth for a while now. And I told you yesterday, ideally I'd like to see us come down and break the previous weekly low at 71.50 and start pulling back or breaking out from the range that we're stuck in right now. But unfortunately that didn't happen. And take a look. Yesterday we came down, held 40.80 again, peeked through it by a little bit, came up, held 41.65, pulled back, and now we're playing around again right at our major eye level at 41.42. So, you know, little too balanced for my liking, but still plenty of opportunity. So let's jump up to the daily, see what the candle looked like. And you can see, yeah, yesterday's candle actually has a little bit of a bullish look to it. We don't necessarily have a very strong bullish divergence or anything from the low of yesterday on a daily chart. Maybe you could argue that since we came so close to the lows of last week here, and the RVI is significantly higher, maybe there's something there, but I don't like the fact that we didn't come down and actually check 71.50 to give me the faith to call that a nice strong bullish divergence. But maybe there's a little bit of an argument there. Outside of that, what else can we say? Again, we're just chopping back and forth between the range of the last, whatever it's been now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days basically. So let me look to the 4-hour. I'm curious to see, did the low of yesterday give us a bullish divergence? Well, yeah, actually it did, right? That's what gave us our bias coming into the open. So let me mark this. So we do have a 4-hour bullish divergence from the lows of yesterday. Let me just see about the 60-minute. The 60-minute was also there. That's why I told you coming into the open, if we don't break the lows, we can expect a bullish breakout to the upside. So yesterday, we don't necessarily have a strong daily bullish divergence from the low, but our 4-hour and our hourly were there just before the open. So maybe that's all we get. Maybe that's all we get. A push back to the top of the range, and now we're playing around again. Um, with that being said, looking at the 4 hour right now, on the pullback, remember I told you we're pulling back just into about that 50% retrace of the smaller leg from yesterday. Well, we do have a bullish divergence now on our 4 hour. We have to wait and see how this candle closes 30 minutes after the open here. So if we don't break lower, we technically will have a bullish divergence. In fact, even if we do pull back here, we may still have the argument for a bullish divergence once we find the actual low. So I will be monitoring that. Again, if we don't break the lows of the overnight session, that 4 hour is going to print a nice, beautiful bullish divergence. And this might be a nice little pullback for the breakout to get outside of all the chop we've been in for a few days. So that's one thing I'm noticing here right now. And then when we go to the 60-minute, we also have a 60-minute bullish divergence from the same low that we saw up here on the 4 hour. So again, if it's just like yesterday, we had a 4 hour and an hourly bullish divergence from the overnight lows. And I told you if we don't break them and we don't get through 7150, there's a potential for there to be a push, a bullish push. This morning, it looks fairly similar, although we're not right down at the bottom of the range. We're right in the middle of it. So we do have a 4 hour hourly bullish divergence going on right now. We are kind of peeking through it a little bit and playing around. But again, if that doesn't break, what I'm seeing on the chart right now could lead to a bounce or an attempt by the bulls to break to the upside. How far are they going to get? Again, I say this every day. Who knows? Who knows? It could be just a little 10-point bounce. The bears catch it and start slapping it back down. It could also be a breakout to the upside. Again, get outside of the previous weekly range, basically. So that's one thing to note this morning coming into the open. And as far as levels go, I really don't need to spend a lot of time on levels because we still haven't broken out from the range. So all of the levels below us are exactly the same, and all the levels above us are exactly the same. So I'll just quickly look at kind of our intraday, or at least all the levels going on inside of this chop box that we're currently in. All right, so first of all, I told you at the beginning, we've got 41.2950 to 41.3050 as one level that to me would make sense to see some type of bounce from. Doesn't have to happen, it's just one possible level that makes sense. So we've got that in there, and then a little bit further down, and remember, I mean, this is a very choppy sideways area. We've got 41.20, 50% of yesterday, up into 41.22. Was it 2250? I might have to look there. Let's take a look. To 23. So 41.20 is 50% of yesterday. 23 is one of the swing highs from back over here. And then we have that level I told you yesterday, 41.2150, which has been working really well when you zoom in and look at it on a shorter time frame. So that little pocket right there to me also looks like a relevant level for a potential bounce. If they don't hold there, or if they hold, bounce, and continue going lower, there's another pocket here from 41.0850 up, which was basically the low of that pullback for the bounce to the high of the day yesterday. 41.0850 right up to the swing high here at, let's just look at the numbers. 41.0850 to 41.11. And I don't know if we'll just say 41.0850 to 41.11. Let me see what this swing high is. 41.1075. I'm pretty anal with things, so I'm going to make it 1075. So just about a 2-point range there. And then if the market can't hold from that area, the only other thing I'm seeing here is there's a level right at 40.9050. And then a swing that comes up right up into 92.50. So we've got 41.9050 to 41.9250, and then from there it's right back to the lows of the last week and a half of price action. and 7150 is that critical level. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure this morning it's still there. Okay, so we've got it there. That is the major low that if it breaks and we start to hold below it, it's going to open us up to all the other levels that are down below us right now. And I need to expand our major retracements. So I'll bring this out to the 9th. So we've got that guy. That's our 38 retrace. Again, I shouldn't have to list out the numbers because we've been talking about these levels for, well, at least since Monday because I wasn't here last week. So let's throw that up. And then we'll do the 61.8 here. Again, we're just making it so that on our shorter time frame charts, we have that level there to remind us if price does start pulling back into those areas. So we've got the 3 major retracements from this major leg up. And then we do have all the same levels we've been talking about for probably months. So I don't want to really spend time listing them out. They all make sense as potential support and resistance levels. And let me just zoom back here. We still have not come to check this little pocket between just about 39.79 and 39.82. So let's extend this out to today as well. So we're aware of it. And let's see if there's anything else I'm forgetting. We also have that little 38.50 to 38.52 pocket as well. So let me extend that one out to today. And that pretty much sets us up for coming into the open right now. As far as a bias, remember yesterday we had some multiple time frame bullish signals that gave us a little bit of a bias that maybe we get a breakout to the upside. And it's my fault, honestly, for not just sticking with what we were seeing and just going long. Because had we have just followed the multiple time frame signal and got long, we would have gotten basically the entire range to the upside, right into our expected resistance. My fault. I'm not perfect. But this morning we don't, outside of the same setup we have from the overnight lows right now, we don't really have anything else as far as a strong bias for one direction or the other. So again, if we don't break the overnight lows here and the bulls start to push this market, the idea is this could lead to a breakout through the high of yesterday and through the previous weekly high to come back up and test above 4,200. So that would be my one kind of tentative bias for this morning if that low doesn't break. And that's kind of all we have for the morning. So for all of those watching out on YouTube, have a great morning. We'll be back tomorrow. And again, I will leave this this stream going, but it is going to be delayed by a few seconds. So, and you won't hear my voice. So if you're interested in joining us, give me a ring and we'll work something out.